Good evening, everyone. I know it's a minute or two late. I'm sorry, I fiddling around here. Good evening. It is time for the Confident Autistic live stream. Yes, it is. Let's go and get this slide up here. Tonight's topic is surviving summer on the autism spectrum. It's gonna be a great event tonight. I am the Confident Autistic, and this is my YouTube channel. I am a late diagnosed autistic adult, a digital creator, and the host of an upcoming podcast called Live Confidently Autistic. And our mission here is to help you rise above challenges and live confidently autistic. So go ahead and drop in the chat where you're from, what's going on in your world, whatever's happening. Love to hear what's happening where you're at. It's we were in a excuse me, we were in a heat wave for quite some time, and we finally broke it. We had like 10 days of a heat advisories, excessive heat warnings, extreme heat warnings, all that stuff. And man, it was hot here. It was miserable. I mean, I don't like wearing a shirt to begin with, but man, I, I went without a shirt, but it was like, this is miserable. And I was like, I slept a lot during the day because it's so warm and up late at night and really messed up my sleep cycle. And that's one of the things but I've been battling. But anyway, share what's going on in your world. Yes, summer. Oh, we love summer. I love summer, but it ends. Everything that starts has an ending, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. So let me get my notes up here on the screen. And we did talk about what this live stream is about. It's going to be talking about summer. I mean, basically, we went through the transition earlier this year, like in May, as early as May, getting into summer. And now summer's going along really great. We're settling into it. And guess what? Back to school sales are beginning. And this coming weekend in many states, it's going to be the tax-free sales tax weekend where there'll be tax exemptions on certain items. Check with your state. Now, in some states, you get the tax for the state free, but not your local tax. So it's kind of weird. But this is the time of the year we start realizing, hey, I just settled into summer. Now to talk about back to school? What is going on here? It's confusing. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Let me get my screens where I need them to be because they're driving me batty. Oh, they really? Yeah, they are. Hold on. There we go. I got my screens where I want them. All right. That's not your problem. That's mine. Anyway, yeah, it's coming. School is coming. It's hard to believe. In a couple of weeks, school will be here. Now, as an autistic adult, summer each year, I mean, it was a little bit different when I was younger, okay? Because now as an adult, I don't have the end of the school year going on. So the transition is a little bit smoother for me. But in May, you start realizing, okay, summer's coming. Things will be a little bit different. I got to get prepared for that. And also, it's not that hard for me. It used to be when I was younger, it was a very big thing at the end of the school year, whether it be K through 12 or a little bit in college as well. This is ending, and now it's going to be a big change coming. And we're going to be talking about that tonight and talk about some strategies I've done to make that transition easier for me. And I'd love to have you share some of the things that help you with, transitioning and some of the challenges you had. So I like to like you to use the chat and not only tell me where you're from, but tell me in the comments, how does summer affect your routine or your confidence? Now, summer for me, it is a change in my routine. I mean, the sun's up a lot later, it gets up a lot earlier, which kind of wild to me. Wild in the sense that it's like, man, it's so daylight and it's 9 o'clock at night. Where I live, you can still see a little bit of daylight, especially at the end of June, almost to 10 o'clock at night. Okay, I'm not in Alaska, but Now, if you're in Alaska, what I've heard is the sun rises at 3 a.m. and goes down around 11:30 p.m. So not even dark at night, basically. I mean, it's kind of wild. So that does throw you off a little bit, and it does change my routine because well, the heat does because, like I mentioned, I get really warm and I sleep a little bit more during the day to avoid the heat. I'm up during the night and all. It really does not mess that much with my confidence. I'll be honest with you about it. But it does change the routine. We watch baseball games in the summer. You can't do that in the winter. So I'm up a little bit later. So those are some of the ways it affects me. This my routine gets changed a little bit. You know, the heat in the evening. I don't want to eat anything warm, so I'm snacking more. I'm having more ice cream and all. And it's like I miss pizzas and all. I love pizzas, but when it's about 98 degrees outside with relative humidity that's in the 90s and it feels like 110, hot food just does not sound good to me. So that changes the routine of what I like to eat. And that kind of throws me off a little bit. Does it do the same for you? Share that in the comments. And that's one of the ways that messed me up. Now, another thing I get to do during the summer, which is different than my winter routine, is barbecue when it's not too hot. I love barbecuing, and I get to do that. Now, I've not done that this summer this much for several reasons. It's been hot. Two, we had a new roof put onto our house, and the people who did the job, wonderful people, wonderful people. I could highly recommend them if you're in my area. Uh, and they had to move stuff around to get up on the roof on the patio, and they moved my barbecuing stuff from my picnic table up to a corner of the patio, and I'm physically disabled, in case you did not know, and I've not had that moved back yet, so I can't get back out to the barbecue yet. But that's something I got to work on. But yeah, that's another thing that's different in the routine. I snack more, try to eat cold food, and when I can, I go outside and barbecue. In the winter, I'm eating more warmer food, and I'm cooking in the kitchen. Chicken to me, I love drumsticks. Chicken to me tastes better on the grill than barbecue grill than if I do it and cook it in the house. So let's talk about the disruption of our structures when summer begins. And And let's talk about that because, if you have kids, I don't have kids. I have cats, but I don't have any kids. But, if you're a parent or even a grandparent, kids are out of school and maybe they go to summer school, maybe they go to vacation Bible study, maybe they go to camp for the summer, whatever. Your routine has changed because members of your family's routines have changed. Excuse me. Some of the people that you see all the time, they're going to take vacations. Whether you have kids or not, they're going to take vacations. And that's another routine that changes. You're used to seeing somebody every Wednesday. Well, they're gone for a while. And then you're kind of like, where did the people go? And that's another a change to our routine and our structure. And that does change our structure because people are gone. We have other people filling in whatever, and things are not the way they used to be. And that's a change to our structure. An example, and this does not have to do with summer in particular, but this happened to me that went to the doctor in May, okay? And I got a little lecture about my A1C, but we'll talk about that later. And she got a new position at the hospital. She's now the chief medical officer at our hospital. Congrats to her. But she still sees patients. But because she's not in the office 5 days a week, they gave her a different portion of the office from her other associates in her office. And she she has a smaller area and the office exam rooms are a little bit smaller, and this does not have a window. And that was a change. The routine was a little bit different. She had a new nurse, which her old I don't know about her new nurse got experience me. Her nurse that she had before. I'm definitely afraid of needles. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later tonight. Used me as a dartboard when it was time to give me a shot. I mean, she's just terrified of me because I'm so afraid of needles. Anyway, poor little nurse. I'm sorry. I don't mean to frighten her. I just don't do what needles. But our structures get changed. Things are changed. Maybe your favorite shows on a different time. There's reruns on, or your shows are being preempted for other summer events, whatever it is. Which I don't think that big of a problem with streaming anymore because people binge watch. But the structure of what you do gets changed during the summer, and that's something we have to deal with. Now, let's talk about some common sensory environmental shifts. And what this means is during the summer, there may be more noise. Because if you go outside, there's more people outside during the summer, unless it's a heat wave, than there is during the winter. So it's more people-y. The stores are a little bit more crowded than normal. And if you're just joining us now, thanks for tuning in. And just, let me know you're here. Say hi in the chat, and I'll give you a shout out. But there's more noise in the summer. And the 4th of July, big thing. A lot of fireworks. And you go on vacation, go to tourist area, which is another change to your routine. There's gonna be a lot of people there because people vacation during the summer, right? And there's more lights. There's more daylight in particular during the summer. And there's crowds, places that are normally quieter may have more people than normal during the summer. I'm not talking about stores. I'm talking about if you go to the zoo. When my wife and I traveled, we used to travel in the fall and the early spring before the summer crowds because it was easier that way and we don't have kids. Not trying to rub that in, but we just don't have children. But now during the summer, you go somewhere that's a tourist area, it's going to have more people than if you visit it in the off season. And you have to deal with those crowds. You have to deal with that light. You have to deal with that noise. And those can cause some sensory issues. And I try to avoid a lot of crowds because I have sensory issues with a lot of noise and people around me. And during the summer, oh man, everything's so bright. I mean, it's summer. It's supposed to be bright. So I tend to wear my, well, I call them bug eyes, but my sunshades that fit over my glasses to cut down the light because it's so bright. It is. Let's see. Let's also talk a little bit about the loss of the routine due to changes in work, school, childcare, etc. Most of the year, we have a routine that probably starts mid-August, early September, and with the exception of a few little interruptions like Thanksgiving, Christmas holidays, and maybe spring break, it stays the same until sometime in May or early June. See, from like mid-May into mid-August, sometimes 1st of June to 1st of September, depending on where you live and how it flows. But, we're in a routine. And then for 3 months, we have a weird routine that there's very little stability in. And this can cause us to have challenges dealing with the summer. Okay, so we talked about some of the things that can cause us trouble in the summer. And now later on tonight, we're going to be talking about some strategies that will help us get through summer and make this easier and get ready for the next transition. Because for many of us, I know for me, okay, summer came, I had to do that transition, right? I'm in the summer now. And now I see the ads. Back to school sales are coming. Talked about that a little bit earlier tonight. And I was in Target today. And there's a sign in the middle of the aisle that says 20% off for teachers. And God love Target. Great that they do that because teachers are underpaid and underappreciated. They need every break they can get. But another sign, school's coming. And I was in the store and there's like kids everywhere, man. I mean, like, don't you have a swimming pool to be at or something? I don't know. But there's kids everywhere. And that's another sign. Summer is going to be wrapping up soon. And fall is going to come and we're going to have another shift back maybe to what we did in May, maybe slightly different, but we're going to be shifting our routines again. And about what tonight's about is getting prepared for that shift and make that smooth transition as possible. Now, before we continue, I'd like to just ask you, does anyone else feel completely thrown off at the beginning of summer? Like I said earlier, I was when I was younger. Okay. Now, as my age now, and I work from home and not many things change that much week to week during the seasons. Not drastically, at least. It does not throw me that much, but it did when I was younger. And like, oh my gosh, and everything's going to change. I get up at a different time. I do different things during the day. I'm not going to school. I'm not doing this. I'm now doing this. So does anyone else feel completely thrown off at the beginning of summer? I have a little bit in the past, and I'm going to tell you how I dealt with that in a few moments here. But let's talk about settling into new routines. How autistic adults often adapts to new routines is we adapt slowly, but strongly to routine changes. The And we do this. We're not really fond of change. I know I'm not. My wife can tell you I am not fond of change. I'm not. I don't do well with it at all. Now, if I initiate it, if I'm the one that says, let's make the change, I'm on board with it, baby. I can handle it. But if somebody else throws the change at me, especially if it's instantaneous, I get real irritable and all. I mean, I could be doing something and I know I'm going to go in the kitchen and do A, B, and C. And between B and C, my wife or somebody will say to me, "Can you grab me a bottle of water or whatever?" Right? That was an unexpected change. I had a plan and you changed it on me. And I get cranky at that at times. I know I shouldn't, but I do. So, yeah, we do adapt to change. And we often adapt slowly but strongly to routine changes. So, yeah, I talked about the strong part because I have reactions. And over time, I will adapt to the change, but it's not something that I'm going to think, oh, yeah, this is a cool change. Not for me. I don't know about you, but for me, it's not something like that. Now, there's an emotional shift once a new rhythm is found for those of us on the spectrum. And what this basically means is, okay, originally there's going to be a change. And we don't like it. We're resistant to it. We don't want to see the change. We don't need the change, any of that stuff. And then we start to adapt to it and we're like, oh, this is okay. I'm beginning to like this. Like summer. You may resist coming into summer, and then you kind of start thinking, this is pretty cool. I like summer. I feel good. My emotions, I'm calmer. I feel more stabilized, regulated, and all. Then bam, end of July, back to school sales. Oh my gosh, another change is coming. But at this point, you're emotionally settled with summer. So another change is coming. And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. But the one thing that helps us with these changes is to be flexible. Flexibility is key. Now, I know it's hard for a lot of us. I know it is for me. I'm not very good at being flexible on things. Certain things I am, but other things I'm not that flexible on. There's certain things have to be in certain places. Like the toilet paper, it has to be on where the paper comes off the front of it. And it's gotten to a point my wife does not put toilet paper on the toilet paper roll anymore because if she puts it in the wrong way, I tend to yell at her. I shouldn't, but I do. So I'm the one that puts the toilet paper on because it has to be a specific way. And I'm not flexible on that. But other things I'm a little bit flexible on, some better than others. My wife could either agree or disagree with me on that, but there's some things I'm flexible on, some that I'm not. But it can look a little bit different for all of us. We may be flexible, and it looks different when you see somebody on the spectrum trying to be flexible than a non-autistic person being flexible. That is. Now, the few things that help me feel grounded and help me with routine and the changes in July. And it's not just July, it's the whole summer I want to talk about, okay? All right, so it starts in May. I know summer's coming. And I kind of get ramped up because starting, February, spring training. Then we go into baseball. And then we go into it's May, right? And the season's getting long. Okay, Memorial Day's coming up. That to me is I don't want to say warning in a negative way, but it is a warning sign that a change is coming. Okay. Then I know that June's going to be here. And there's going to be some disruptions like Juneteenth. That's a disruption. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way towards the holiday. What I mean is on Juneteenth, on a weekday, there's not any mail. The banks are closed. Government offices are closed. So that's a little change in the routine. So I don't, it's a day, well, I don't normally check the mail every day, but it's a day I'm not going to go and check mail if I was going to do that. And so that's a little disruption. And then, of course, 4th of July, you have the same thing. You have all these fireworks and all. But one thing that helps me to feel grounded and to be ready for these transitions and these changes is I know they're coming. Now, we talk about routines a lot, like a daily routine. Every morning, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever. I'm going to have breakfast. I'm going to take a shower, do these things in the same order every single day. And that works. That helps us. But what helps me and may help you as well, not only do I have a daily routine, I have an annual routine, which when you think about it, we all have that. And if we start looking at that annual routine as a way to have some normalcy and self-regulation, it can help. Like I know, okay, Memorial Day's coming. I barbecue that weekend, and that tells me I'm going to be transitioning into summer. And I know that on Juneteenth comes, hey, the first day of summer is going to be here. The longest day of the year is coming. I know that Father's Day either it's happened or it's about to happen. It's yeah, those days are weird. But then the 4th of July, I know the fireworks are going to be coming. Just like you go through your day, it gets 11 o'clock in the morning. You know what? It's about an hour until lunch. And that helps me. Taking my year and looking at my year as a routine, the whole year as a routine. And that helps me gear myself for the changes in my routine that happen during the year because of, seasons, holidays, whatever. Another thing that helps me in July is my birthdays. July, there's a lot of people in my life who have birthdays. A good family friend of ours has a birthday on the 14th. One of my friend's moms, her birthday was on July 17th. She passed away. I miss her a lot. My brother was born on July 18th. And then later on in the month, my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law have birthdays. So all these birthdays coming up, and that kind of helps me realize, okay, when the birthday part of July, I'm really good at remembering dates. I don't know about you. Are you good at remembering dates? Share that in the comments. Anyway, uh, so all these birthdays coming up also is part of my annual routine. Just like my daily routine, my annual routine. And those birthdays coming up, that big birthday block of all these birthdays, helps me get ready for the back to school, which is another sign that I'm going to be transitioning into fall. Okay. Just like when you have a sign during the day, every day around 11, you realize my stomach's getting hungry. Maybe you realize that, maybe not. But you know that at noon it's going to be lunchtime. Just look at the year, the season, the year as a large routine, like I do for the whole year. And for me, that helps me with the transitioning. Now, I'm going to tell you something about me, though. I'm going to tell you something about me. I have the hardest time transitioning out of summer, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But another thing that helps me is the Christmas in July. It's a big thing on the Hallmark Channel. My wife watches it. My mom watches it. I don't watch a lot of TV, but they get into it. It's Christmas in July. You see promotions. You see ball teams do Christmas in July events, whatever, and that's a annual routine. So these annual events that we go through can be a part of our overall annual routines that we go through. Use them that way. But I have the hardest time. I'm going to be honest with you the hardest time transitioning from summer to fall. Summer can end, and this happened when I was in college a lot, and it still does today. Summer ends, fall semester begins, most of the time around the 20th of August. I'm still in summer mode. I'm still wanting to sleep in, staying up late, all of that stuff. And then September comes, start getting a little chillier. The days get shorter, daylight hours get shorter, and you start using the heater. And I'm still like, I don't want summer to leave, and the leaves everywhere. And by the end of October, when practically all the leaves are on the ground, or at least they change colors, Sun's going down around 5:30 in the evening instead of 9, coming up around 7 in the morning instead of 5. I finally have to accept summer's over. It's hard for me. I just don't like that change. I don't like to let go of summer because to me, fall and winter. Now I love Christmas and my birthday's before Christmas, but overall, winter is so depressing to me. I'm cooped up inside. Well, I kind of like that a little bit because less peoply, but it's so cold you can't go outside. And where I live, we have snow and ice. And being physically disabled, it gets a little bit dangerous for me to go outside my house. So winter blahs and all. I hate that. But that's probably why I have a hard time letting go and transitioning summer into fall. And now, when I was in college, when I finally accepted summer was over in October, semester's halfway over. My grades already tanked to the point they're not going to come back up. So that was my own problem that I had. But learning how to see the whole year with all the holidays and birthdays and other events, annual events, as a giant routine for my life for each and every year has really helped me to learn to transition from one season to another throughout the year. And I hope, and that's something you may want to try to do. So you can have easier transitions that, like the one we're heading into, going from summer to fall. And now we can start anticipating the new transition of fall coming, and basically it is the back to school sales. That's the big cue, big sign that says summer's about to end, school is coming back, and and these things can trigger anxiety because you got settled into summer. You know your routine. You know what time you get up. You know who's going to be around. You know what's going to be busy. What time's a good time to go to the store. What time's a good time to hit the road to get to work. And traffic patterns have changed. Whatever, right? And now some school's coming back. Now there's going to be school buses on the road, and traffic patterns are going to change. There won't be that many kids, in stores. None of that stuff. And that's going to be another change. There'll be anxiety because things have changed. And for many of us in the spectrum, when there's a change, even a slight change, it can cause us to feel anxious. Now, there are some things that we would like to discuss here, including the emotional toll of upcoming changes. Emotionally, it can be very draining that these things the change is coming or is going on, because it can really wreak havoc with our emotions. It can make us feel a little bit insecure or worried or stressed or fearful. Whatever, we can have negative emotions. We'll like to have positive emotions, but we could have negative emotions from this. And that's okay. There's no judgment here. We can have these things going on, these emotions going on, and embrace them and accept them and work through them. Okay. Another thing that can happen when we are approaching a transitional change, like we are right now, getting ready to transition into fall, is we can have executive functioning challenges. And those stem from preparing for transitions. And let me break this down a little bit for you. Autistic adults often face significant executive functioning challenges when preparing for transitions. These challenges can include difficulties with planning, organization, time management, and cognitive flexibility. And all of this can impair our ability to navigate these challenges effectively. So yeah, we got change coming and executive function issues happening. So we know it's going to change. We don't know how to plan. What time do I get up now? What time do I have to leave for work? What time do I have to get the kids ready? What time does the bus come? All of these things, our plans. We got to come up for a new routine, a new plan. And for some of us who struggle with executive functioning issues, or who are, maybe we don't struggle with that every day, but we can at times. This is going to throw a problem into the mix. and then getting organized. Okay, the fall's coming. I got to get rid of my summer clothes, put them away, get my fall clothes out, and getting my closet organized. And look at the closet like, oh my gosh, there's so much in here, and you feel overwhelmed. I know I feel that way when I'm around a lot of debris and clutter. I mean, it's just very, very difficult for me. So yeah, and this could cause trouble for executive functioning. Now I'm going to be doing a video. I kind of started brainstorming on this today. That's going to go into a deeper dive on executive functioning, probably in the next month. I'm hoping to have it done in August, maybe September, but be watching for that. It'll be posted. Don't know when, but it will be on a Monday. So just make sure you subscribe to the channels and hit that bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. And now the other thing that causes us problems when we're about to enter into a change, a transition, like we are going from summer to fall, the pressure that we feel to, and I cannot snap my fingers, snap back into fall productivity. Summer, we take it easy. We may be a little bit more relaxed, spend time on the beach, reading books, doing things we enjoy doing. But fall comes. I got to get going. I mean, I got to get the house clean. We got to get ready for the holidays. I got all this other stuff. And it's like everything is accelerated. The speed, of, the pace of things becomes faster. And you don't want to get right back into that, jump back into it. I mean, you were doing that earlier this year. Now you had like a 3 months of kind of laid back, and now I got to get back. And you feel like I got to get back into it like tomorrow. Like tomorrow morning, I got to be back into fall mode. Everything flowing right, getting the kids up, getting up dressed on time. Don't be late to work. All these other things. And sometimes in the fall, we have more responsibilities and activities than we did during the summer. And how are we going to balance all of that? So that can cause us pressure, and so we can fall back into the activities of the fall. But let me ask you something: are you feeling that summer's ending dread? And what is the harder thing for you? I'm kind of not feeling the dread of the end of summer, okay, and not at this point because I know back to school is coming. But I live in denial of summer ending. I talked about that earlier, and I just like summer's not going to end, and I don't really embrace that until October. So I don't really have that dread going on right now. At least not this year. Some years I do a little bit. When I was younger and was going to school, oh yeah, I had that dread because I know. Let's see, about 2, 3 weeks from now, I got to be in a classroom during the day, and that was always hard for me. I have so much trouble focusing in the classroom. There's so many people, there's so many things distracting me, so many sensory overwhelm. And whenever I'm in a classroom, unless if I really love the subject, while the teacher was babbling on forever and ever about something I really did not care about and I did not know why I was in this class, my mind had hundreds of things going on through it. So it was really hard for me to concentrate in the classroom. And I was dreading that because, like, oh no, not another semester where I'm going to fail courses and have all this homework and be overwhelmed. So yeah, I went through that dread part. And what was the hardest part for me of summer? And share with me and share in the chat. Um, are you feeling a summer ending dread at this point, or when do you? And what's the hardest for you? And I think the hardest for me was when I was younger, which I guess could apply today, but a perfect example is when I was younger. Is okay, school starting, new teachers, new people around me, and all this newness, and how am I going to handle it? The sensory changes, all of this stuff. And I think fearing that and wondering about that made it hard. I remember the night before school was one of the roughest nights of the year for me to go to sleep. But I was so anxious about it, caused so much anxiety. And whether you go to school at this point in your life or not, or the fall's coming, things can be changing. Football seasons can be starting. My great nephew just made it onto the football team this year. I'm very proud of him too. And he's on the football team. And football's coming up and all, and then maybe there'll be pressure for you if you're not a football fan. I'm not a big fan of football. That the office people are gonna be talking about the football pool and football games, and that's something you're just not into. And now you feeling anxious about this. And that's another sign summer's ending. And it's hard for you because, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to interact with these people? They're going to want to talk about it. And they're going to use this as small talk. And if you're like me, I hate small talk. I do. I find it to be pointless. So those are things that can be hard for you during the transition that's coming up. Now, let's talk about some tools to prepare for the fall transition. Some things that can help you, including confidence building strategies for dealing with the change. Now, whether you're listening, watching this live or watching this in archive, and I know these don't have long shelf lives in live streams, but that's okay. Any change in the season, like going from fall to winter to spring, this could apply for it to do. Here are some confidence building strategies that may help you deal with the change. Let me take a quick drink here. I'm thirsty. Okay. You can create a visual schedule or transition timelines. I will be doing a video on that at a later point on visual schedules or transition timelines. So we'll be watching for that here on the channel. I may do it on a Thursday Night Live thing. I'm not sure, but we'll be doing it in the future. Where you can kind of map out. I love the timeline part because that I understand a little bit more than visual schedule. I don't use visual schedules. A timeline saying, okay, this date I'm doing this I'm doing this, whatever, and have that timeline to help guide me through the transition from one season to another. And whether it be actual weather seasons or maybe from the Christmas season to the New Year season or whatever, a timeline can really help navigate you through that. Now, this is one that I really love and I've used, okay? Practicing routines before they are needed. When I was a kid, summer vacation, love summer vacation. My mom had a couple of rules for us, okay? First of all, during the summer, we cannot sleep in real late. Normally during the school year, we would get up between 6 to 7 a.m., depending on what grade we're in, because that depended on what time we had to leave the house for school. So during summer, we were allowed to sleep into 8, but no later than 9, unless we were sick, okay? So, and then we could stay up later. Now, the week before school began, sometimes 2 weeks before, if I really got on my mom's nerves, we would have to start getting up at the time we would for the upcoming school year. And we would have to go to bed. And I hated having a bedtime as a kid. My parents stay up. I should be able to stay up. I didn't like bedtime. And it was really hard on me. I had a younger brother. He was 3 years younger than me. So even though I was old enough to stay up to 9, he needed to go to bed at 8:30. And because it would not be fair to my little brother, I had to go to bed early. And I hated that. I was embarrassed by that. Anyway, we would go to bed at the time we would go to bed during the school year. We would start doing that a week before we actually had to do it. And that helped us transition into it, into the new season, into the new routine. One, it got our bodies on a cycle of when we should be sleeping and when we should be awake. And two, I think I did not realize it at the time. I think it got me psychologically a little bit less anxious for the upcoming school year. Yeah, I was still anxious, but it took away one of my fears. Am I going to oversleep? Am I going to be able to sleep at night? And it kind of helped me introduce the new routine, not all at once, not like a big 180-degree turn. It helped me transition into it one piece at a time by starting with that week of different sleeping cycles. And then we build onto it. So when school came, it was still a little bit of a big transition for me, but some of it has already been done because we spent that week before the last week of summer vacation uh, getting ready for the school year, getting our sleep cycles in the right pattern. Now, another thing you could try doing is reframing this stuff. Okay. We sometimes we'll look at the word transition as autistic adults as here comes a transition. Oh my gosh, I hate transitions. And we turn the word transition into a negative word and a negative experience. So instead of looking at the transition you have to take on, okay, which could cause you to hesitate on it or dread it more. Think of these times, like we're going into from summer into fall, as growth moments and not regressions. Think of it this way. I talk about this a lot, and I believe in this a lot. Let's take transitions, okay? There's two ways you can look at a transition: as an obstacle or as a challenge. When you have an obstacle in front of you, it is huge. It is as huge as this my needle ball is right now on the screen. And it's so big, you might not be able to see a way around it and you're fearful of it. But if it's a challenge, it becomes smaller and you're going to want to get around that challenge or over that challenge. And if you're like me, and I say to people all the time, I eat challenges for breakfast because they're better than Cheerios. And it's true. When we look at things not as an obstacle, as a negative, but as a positive, that this is not an obstacle. This transition is not an obstacle between me and feeling regulated and feeling comfortable. It's a challenge. And I'm going to take on that challenge. And then when we go to that challenge and we succeed in it, we may have a few step backs, but hopefully we take 2 steps forward and only 1 step back. And when we're getting through it and if we get through it, we can pat ourselves on the back and say, we're doing great. And that will give us confidence to embrace more challenges, which will help us grow our self-confidence and start living confidently autistic. So in other words, when we look at these transitions, not as an obstacle, but a challenge, we can rise above that challenge to live confidently autistic, because every challenge we rise above, it builds our confidence for the next challenge that comes in our lives. So we know, hey, I did this one before, I can do this one. It gives us the confidence to move forward. Another thing that we could try doing in this transition time is to set boundaries around commitments. Obviously, in the fall, you may have more commitments than you do during the summer. You don't have to say yes to everything. Let me repeat that. Somebody offers something for you to do, you give yourself permission to say no. You don't need to do everything. Pick the things that you know will fall in one or two categories. One that you know you can handle, it's not going to be too much sensory overload, etc. And two, the things that are really necessary, i.e., going to a conference for your employer may be a little uncomfortable for you, but you may need to go because your job, your skills, whatever, right? But getting together for an office barbecue on a Saturday, those always cause me anxiety. You may want to kind of politely excuse yourself from that. You don't have to do everything that somebody invites you to. Okay? Give yourself permission to set boundaries around the commitments you make. Don't overextend yourself. You want to make sure that you are not pushing yourself too far. Now, I like challenging myself a little bit, but I don't want to, using a metaphor about swimming, I don't want to dive into the 8 foot into the pool when I'm only ready for a 3 foot into the pool. Well, and don't dive into 3 feet of water either. Okay, that could be bad. But the point is, don't overextend yourself. Challenge yourself. Push that envelope a little whenever you're ready, but don't go way too far where you're going to have a shutdown, meltdown, and then you're going to regress a lot and have a lot of regret and you feel embarrassed and it could damage relationships, friendship, both relationships, personal and professional. So you do not have to say yes to everything, but do say yes to coming to these lives because I'm pretty sure they're stress free for you. Now let's kind of reflect on tonight. We've been talking about a transitioning from summer to fall. And if you have any questions, put them into the chat now. I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you have any questions, And if you have any questions whatsoever about autism or confidence, feel free to drop them into the chat as well, and I'll do my best to answer them while we're here. But yeah, summer's ending. We got to face that fact. And the things that we need to remember from tonight's chat is this: summer is hard at first. Any season is hard at first. Whenever we make a change in our life, it's always hard. I think it's harder for those of us on the spectrum than our autistic peers. But whenever there's a change in our life, it can be hard at first. But as long as we do not resist it too much, we can adapt. The less, even though it's hard, the less we resist it, the more likely we're going to be able to adapt to that change, accept that change, and more quickly. I know that's not grammatically great. At a quicker rate, we're going to be able to adapt and accept those changes. And whenever we come up to this time in time where you're going to be having a change, whether it be seasons or just, maybe a different job, different employer, moving to a new city, whatever that transition is, say to yourself, I know another transition is coming, but I can prepare for it. And preparing means you know it's coming, and you start, maybe you know it's going to come, like we talked about when I was a kid during summer vacation. You know it's going to come. You're going to have a new schedule, maybe a week or two before. Start getting yourself in that schedule of what you're going to do at certain times of the day. Ease yourself into it. You can prepare to make a change and a transition. One of the most important things I like to say tonight is this: confidence, especially when we're talking about these transitions, but it goes not just during transitions, but all through your life, every single day. Confidence means, the many meanings for it, but one I'd like you to focus in on tonight is this: confidence means honoring. Complete opposite. Let me try that again. Confidence means honoring our needs. One more time. Confidence means honoring our needs through each season. So during the summer, maybe our needs are gonna be different than they will be in the fall, and our needs will be different in the fall than they will at Thanksgiving time, the holiday season. Maybe different than they are in the winter and in the spring. Honor whatever your needs are for whatever season you are in. That's gonna help you a lot during any transitions. Now, if you're ready, and let me get this up. I forgot to get this ready. Hold on. If you are ready to start your own journey to discovering, developing, growing your self confidence so you can rise above challenges and live confidently autistic, I invite you to get my free 28-page PDF, which is entitled, let me get the title here. Live Confidently Autistic, the PDF. Yeah, that's what it's called. I should know that. Anyway, you can get that. I put the link right now into the chat, and it's also into the video description if you're watching this in archive. And this is the 28-page book that's going to help break down what autism is. Not a thorough one, but it gives you a starting point. And it will also give you some practical advice that you can start doing today to start to discover, develop, and grow your self confidence. And there are reflection questions in this PDF. So it's free. Go grab it and download it and start working through that. Now, before we wrap this up, it's the last call for any comments, questions you have. Put them in the chat if you do. I want to tell you about a few things that are coming up. I told you about this earlier this summer. We kind of did a little thing, but we're doing it better. I'm redoing the trailer for the podcast called Live Confidently Autistic, the podcast. And I just finished editing it today. I haven't gotten up yet, but it will be up by Tuesday. A brand new trailer for the new podcast that will be starting in the fall. It's going to be a really cool podcast. It is. It's going to be amazing. In fact, you know what I think I'm going to try to do here? Let me try this. I think I can do this. I'm going to try to pull up that video and figure out where I put it. And that's not what I want. This it? I'm looking. I think I found it. I think so. Yes, I did. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to share. We're going to do a premiere of it. Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay. Let's go ahead and do, I'm going to do a premiere of this video. Okay. It's not live on our channel yet. It will be. But if you sat through this much of this, let's go ahead and do this. Okay. Let me get my screens where I need them to be. There we go. Nope. That's not it. There we go. And then bada boom. And I'm going to pop up. Hey, Define Yourselfer. Welcome to Live Confidently Autistic, the podcast. This is the podcast that will empower you to rise above challenges and live confidently autistic in a neurotypical world. I am your host, Chris Mitchell, aka The Confident Autistic, from theconfidentautistic.com. I'm a late diagnosed autistic adult, a digital creator, and a multi-certified confidence life coach serving the adult autism community. Through conversations with experts and influencers in the autism space and the confidence building space, on Live Confidently Autistic, the podcast, you will discover the resources and the life hacks that will empower you to develop the self-confidence and the skills you need to rise above the challenges you face as an autistic adult to live confidently autistic. Guests on Live Confidently Autistic, the podcast, will share resources, strategies, and life hacks to overcome challenges you encounter as you live life as a neurodiverse individual in a world created for neurotypical people. So, if you suspect you're on the spectrum, self-identify as autistic, or if you are pursuing or have received a late diagnosis of autism as an adult, and you want to develop the skills and confidence necessary to thrive in a neurotypical world, this podcast is for you. So be sure to click on the subscribe button now to ensure you never miss an episode of Live Confidently Autistic, the podcast. Episodes drop Tuesdays on your favorite podcast player platform, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on my YouTube channel, The Confident Autistic. I'm Chris Mitchell, aka The Confident Autistic, hoping that you would join me on Live Confidently Autistic, the podcast, and together we can rise above challenges to live confidently autistic. Okay, that's the trailer. I discovered while watching the trailer. Let me get this back up here. That there was a typo on it, so I'm glad I've not uploaded it. But yeah, I misspelled visit. I put VISTI instead of VISIT. So I'm going to fix that. So it's not quite done, but yeah, the trailer's going to go live on the channel Tuesday, that is, and on popular podcast player platforms. Try saying that 5 times fast. And all. So that will be coming up. The first episodes will be dropping in September. So you got to see a sneak peek of the new trailer with a typo in it. And that's going to be fixed. Trust me, it is. It is. In fact, I think I can go over here and do this right now. Uh-oh. That's okay. I'm trying to. There we go. I'm going to fix this right now. You can't see me doing this. It's okay. So anyway, get that all out of there. Okay, that's super. So that is pretty much what I have for you all tonight. I want to thank you for joining me. and being a part of this live stream. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you watched it in archive, please make a comment because I do read every single comment, and you know I read them when I give them a thumbs up. That means I read them. Okay. Uh, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We're up to last time I checked, 260 subscribers. I want to see this baby grow, and that's our project. That's my goal for the next few months. You know, I want to do a video on goals. Maybe we'll do that as a live event. Talk about goals, the importance of goals. Give that a try. Okay. So thank you. And so please make sure you subscribe. And when you do not forget to ring the bell so you can be notified of videos when they go live and when I do these live events, which are now back on Thursday nights. They're going to be on Thursday nights forever now. Well, maybe not forever. Eventually I'll die. But they're going to be on Thursday nights from this point forward. So again, thank you so very, very much for joining me this evening. I hope this has been beneficial to you. Did I do this? No, I haven't. There we go. And I hope that you know, and you get great deals at the back to school special. Now, the back to school thing, this is something I learned in past years on tax free. Many, I won't say everywhere, but I know where I live, this happens. Any items that are eligible for back to school, tax free, I can buy on Amazon and they are tax free. I love that. Okay. So a lot of these deals that you don't have to go in the store. If you don't like crowds, you don't like to be in the stores like me. I don't. I love delivery at home. You can, a lot of these tax free things are available online from businesses like Amazon, Best Buy, etc. So get those supplies, get that stuff. I mean, if you're into computers like me, get yourself a little flash drive or whatever you need if they're covered in your area as part of the back to school specials because there's great sale prices, tax free. It's a great time to stock up. Excuse me, stock up on stuff. Another thing I like to mention real quickly. Not every community does this, but if yours does, that'd be great. And if it doesn't, call your school and find out. A lot of communities have a thing called Stuff the Bus, where you can buy school supplies and you can donate them. Usually they have a bus parked somewhere, a school bus, and you just put it inside the bus and all. They collect them that way to help kids who do not have school supplies to get supplies for the school year. It's a great program. We've supported that here in the past and all. So check into that. Talk to your school, whatever. So you just pick up one or two little extra things if you know if that's financially possible. And you don't have kids, just go and pick up a couple of things, you know, and donate them. And it makes a difference because the kids that come from families who do not have a lot of means, financial means, this helps their confidence when they have the supplies. And if you're in the position where you can help a kid that way, that's a wonderful thing to do. So if you have that in your community, I do ask you to consider supporting that this year on back to school. So next week, we got some great videos coming up. I'm going to have a video coming up Monday around 3 p.m. I'm going to be taping tomorrow, so I don't know what the topic will be. But as soon as it's done, you go to my channel, come here to my channel, and it will show up in upcoming videos and it will have a premiere and you can just click on it and it will remind you when the video goes live. And then Tuesday, that video you just saw without the typo and finished with production will go live to promote the new podcast. And we'll be back next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time for another one of these Live Confidently Autistic live streams. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay cool, and don't be afraid. I mean, the transition's coming. We're going to be moving from summer to fall. It's not here yet, but it's on the way. But you can do this, okay? If the transition is a challenge, I know that you can rise above that challenge and you can live confidently autistic. And I have over 250 videos here to help you live confidently autistic. So check out one of the great videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And I'll be back here next Thursday night live at 7 p.m. Central Time. Until then, take care.